The Detroit Lions have been inching closer and closer to breaking through the ceiling that's haunted this franchise for decades. Remember the heartbreak of Barry Sanders' sudden exit, Calvin Johnson's prime cut short, and that brutal 0-16 nightmare that felt like a lifetime ago? Those weren't just bad seasons. They became emotional landmarks for a fan base that's had to redefine what resilience really means. Every era seemed to come with a new kind of pain, a missed call here, a wasted superstar there, a rebuild that never quite became what it promised. Last season's playoff push finally gave Lions Nation a glimmer that the tides might be turning. For the first time in ages, it didn't feel like Detroit was just playing spoiler or clinging to moral victories. It felt real. The energy at Ford Field was different, louder, sharper, more hopeful. That run showed the league and the fans that this team isn't just about grit as a slogan. It's about grit as a standard. But just as the smoke clears and expectations rise, new questions loom over the future of one of the team's hardest workers on a fence dot at the same time. The NFC North rivalry is heating up again. The Packers are retooling on the fly. The Vikings are trying to hang on to relevance and identity. And the Bears are clawing their way out of yet another rebuild with a new plan and a new face of the franchise. As all three rivals sharpen their tools, the Lions face a crossroads that could reshape their backfield and send ripples through their entire roster. Could the grind and glory run for Detroit's ground game be on the brink of a seismic shift? What if the Lions traded away a key piece that's been their steady hand at the line of scrimmage? Lions fans know the sting of losing star power all too well, so the question lingers like a ball hanging in the air. Are we staring down another potential shakeup that could either make or break Detroit's necks? Big leap. This is Lions News Fan Report, your front row seat to every pulse-pounding moment inside Ford Field and beyond. If you bleed Honolulu blue and silver, if you know the roar of the crowd can drown out the pain of past rebuilds, if you can still picture that first time you walked into the stadium and felt the noise in your chest, this is your home. Hit that subscribe button and join a community that demands more grit, more ground game, more accountability, more wins. No more myths, no more nearly theirs, no more same old Lions talk. It's time for Detroit to put all their cards on the table and play for keeps. Now, here's the scoop that's got Lions fans buzzing and holding their breath. According to a new report from Bleacher Report, Detroit could be gearing up to pull off one of the more unexpected moves in recent memory. Running back David Montgomery may become a trade chip, potentially after the 2025 season. This isn't a depth chart footnote. This is the kind of speculation that makes a fan stop mid-scroll and say, wait, what? Montgomery, brought over from the rival Chicago Bears in 2023, instantly became a workhorse for Detroit's rushing attack. From the moment he arrived, he brought a tough, no-nonsense running style that fit perfectly with Dan Campbell's kneecap-biting mentality. He wasn't just a plug-in player. He became part of the identity. But then Jahmyr Gibbs arrived, a younger, electric, dynamic force, and everything shifted. Together, Montgomery and Gibbs formed a historic duo, becoming the first backfield pair in NFL history to each rush for 1,000 yards in the same season. The numbers and the hype are undeniable. Fans watch defenses struggle to pick their poison, the bruising consistency of Montgomery or the explosive, big play threat of Gibbs. Yet as much as that combo felt like a dream, the writing on the wall might be clearer than ever. Gibbs, with youth, versatility, and team control on his side, is the long-term priority. He represents the future, the upside, the long runway. Montgomery? He might be the odd man out, not because he's declined, not because he's suddenly expendable, but because of how the modern NFL works. He may quietly be viewed as the Lions' top trade asset. If and only if the front office can get the right package in return, think immediate starting caliber cornerback help and a first-round pick. That's not a small ask. That's a change the shape of your roster kind of return. Detroit's secondary has been pushed to the brink by injuries and inconsistency. We've seen leads slip, big plays surrendered at the worst possible times, and drives extended by coverage breakdown. The Lions know what every serious contender knows. Defense wins championships, or at the very least, it stops your season from ending in heartbreak. Could the reward outweigh the risk of losing one of their main runners? That's the million-dollar question. Let's be clear. This isn't some confirmed blockbuster in the works. Montgomery hasn't been through the usual media ringer of intense trade rumors since landing in Detroit. No cryptic social media posts, no public dissatisfaction, no visible tension with the coaching staff. That tells us this is more of a forward-looking possibility than an immediate reality. It's a scenario the front office has probably discussed in a room with the door closed, whiteboard full of depth charts and salary cap numbers. But this speculation offers a window into how Dan Campbell and offensive coordinator Ben Johnson view roster building in the modern NFL. Their system clearly emphasizes youth, speed, and versatility. Gibbs is the prototype for that vision explosive, fast, dangerous in space, and capable of turning a small crease into a house call. He's a mismatch out of the backfield, a nightmare to defend in the open field, and a perfect weapon in an offense that loves motion, misdirection, and creativity. Montgomery, on the other hand, is a different kind of valuable. He's dependable. He's the guy you hand the ball to on 3rd and 2 when everyone in the stadium knows it's a run. He picks up the tough yards after contact, grinds down defenses late in games, and sets a physical tone that doesn't always show up fully in the box score. His career numbers, already solid from his initial years in Chicago, have only added to his reputation as a tough, reliable back who can carry a heavy workload. Those traits make him attractive to a wide variety of contenders who might feel one running back away from balance on a fence. But sameness is the enemy here. This coaching staff doesn't want a roster that stays static just because it's good. They want a roster that keeps evolving because it can be great. Every depth chart shift is a gamble, especially when it might unsettle a proven contributor and a fan favorite. When you move a piece as central as Montgomery, you're not just shuffling the X's and O's. You're sending a message about your philosophy, your timeline, and your tolerance for risk. Detroit's decision to potentially trade Montgomery wouldn't just affect their own locker room. It would reverberate across the NFC North. The Packers have had their own issues with ball security and consistency in the run game. The Bears are trying to stabilize an offense around new leadership and young talent. The Vikings are carefully watching everyone's moves, trying to figure out whether to reload or rebuild. Give Detroit a legitimate starting cornerback and a premium pick in the first round, and suddenly the Lions aren't just patching a hole. They're stockpiling ammunition for multiple playoff pushes in a division where every December game feels like a must-win. But then comes the other side of the equation. What happens to the ground game? This move would inject real uncertainty into a backfield whose chemistry has been one of the rare, undeniable bright spots for the Lions. Losing Montgomery could slow down those late-game drives where Detroit leans on the run to bleed the clock, control tempo, and impose their will. Campbell loves those moments, the kind of drives where everyone in the stadium knows the run is coming. And it still works. Lions fans have every right to feel torn. You've earned hope, but you've also earned caution. This isn't your typical trade rumor tossed out to fill airtime. It's more like a potential franchise pivot point. If the front office pulls this trigger, they're not just tweaking. They're committing to a new hierarchy in the offense and a bold, aggressive attempt to fix the defense. By this point, we're shouting for clarity amid the noise inside Ford Field and across sports talk shows. Is Detroit really ready to gamble one of the toughest, most reliable backs in recent memory on the chance to fix their secondary and add high draft capital? Or will they hold steady, choosing continuity over change, and continue to lean on a backfield duo that's already rewriting pieces of Lions lore? Remember the pain of losing generational players too soon and how those exits left lingering what-ifs hanging over the franchise. Remember, too, how last year's playoff surge was built not just on talent, but on trust, toughness, and continuity. This chatter about Montgomery possibly slipping out the door is more than just a rumor. It's a test of the Lions' patience, vision, and willingness to take calculated risks. If you're watching this and your palms are sweating thinking, trade my guy? Welcome to the full Lions fan experience. Loving this team has always meant balancing belief with bracing for the unexpected. It's a specialty here. Love hard, hope harder, and always keep one eye open for the twist you never saw coming. There's even a locker room joke floating around this week. If Montgomery's traded for a cornerback, you better believe the new guy will need a crash course in handling Detroit winters, third down pressure, and tailgate rivalry. It's half joke, half truth. Because around here, you're not just joining a team. You're stepping into a culture that's been built through decades of heartbreak. Grit and refusal to stay down. We're built tough here. This city knows pressure. This fan base knows heartbreak. But always, always, we claw back. That's why this moment feels so pivotal. It sits at the intersection of old scars and new opportunities. So, Lions Nation, how do you see this playing out? Is David Montgomery's potential trade a savvy, forward-thinking shakeup that aligns with the league's evolution toward younger, more versatile backfields? Or is it a dangerous gamble that cuts too close to the core identity of this offense, a physical, punishing ground game that has been the heartbeat of Detroit's resurgence? Will Detroit's front office double down on youth and Gibbs, shore up a thin and battle-worn secondary, and roll the dice on the NFC North race with a more pass-secure defense? Or are they risking the continuity, chemistry, and toughness that fueled a playoff surge and brought real hope back to a city starved for sustained success? Drop your takes, light up the comments, and keep the conversation going. Stay locked in with Lions News Fan Report, because if there's one thing we know in this division, it's that nothing stays quiet for long. Every rumor, every roster move, every whisper out of Allen Park can snowball into the next big storyline. As future deadlines loom and the Lions front office studies every angle of their next bold move, football fans across the Motor City are holding their breath. Are we about to witness the start of a dynasty built on smart, ruthless decisions and a perfectly balanced roster? Or the beginning of another chapter that will be remembered as a near-miss we were so close moment that slips away? Because whatever happens next, one thing's for certain: Detroit's grit and grind will be tested like never before. The question isn't just whether the Lions have the guts to make the move that could change everything. It's whether they can live with the consequences if it doesn't go as planned. Are we on the brink of a bold new era or another lesson in heartbreak? Lions Nation, buckle up. This ride is far from over, and where it takes us is anyone's guess.